Okay, let's see. There has been quite a lot of questions on a battle resolution. I'll try to simplify and clarify a couple of things. So, we have an example case with two different captains and two different ships. We have Desperado and Kerberos up here, and Courier with Rusty Jim Bob on this side. Both of the captains have their battle decks readily made with the Destiny deck cards. So I'm not going to look what these are, but instead I'm going to shuffle, just like every good player does. And on this side we have 6 cards, whereas this side is 7 cards. The difference being that Kerberos has one more symbol, that would be the support symbol. In here there is support, defense and energy, where there is only, support, defense and attack, and here we have only defense and attack. Otherwise, the deck card amounts are identical because both have one additional card from the improvements, and then the base card and the Destiny deck cards. Okay, first of all, the most important rule in the battle: know your cards. So study your captain, study your ship, and know what the benefits of both are. Then, before you add your Destiny deck cards, you should study whatever battle cards you have and see what kind of possibilities you might have in the forthcoming battle. Okay, let's assume that we have studied everything very carefully and we know exactly what we have. And the first round of battle is about to begin. You are supposed to select 2 to 5 cards out of these 6 that we have. Let's assume that Rusty Jim Bob takes 2 and places the cards in his hand without the other player seeing how many of the cards did you actually choose. You are not allowed to look which cards you choose from. The possibility of actually looking which cards you take is maybe forthcoming, let's put it this way. It's an option that would make the game longer and battle definitely more lengthy, but it would be more tactical and offer more options for those players that are wanting to have more options. But let's not go into that detail yet. So, 2 cards on this hand. Then the other player at the same time makes similar decision. He chooses to take 3 cards and puts them in his hand without the other player seeing what is he doing, how many cards did he pick. And then we will reveal the cards. Let's put these away so it's easier to see. Like here. It seems that Kerberos is having 2 attack cards and 1 defense, whereas Rusty Jim Bob has only 1 attack and 1 defense. If there would have been support cards, these would be now resolved. No support cards on this battle round, it seems. So, at this point, for instance, for Rusty Jim Bob, it would be a brilliant idea to notice that, hey, I have this stunt maneuverability. Once each combat, at any time, you may discard up to 3 cards from your hand. It should say deck, from your deck, and all opponents must discard the same number of cards from their hands, again from the deck. So if you feel that these cards now in my battle deck are bad, again without looking, you should say that, yeah, let's discard 2 of these and force the other player to do the same. Well, let's not do it now, because we are supposed to do battle resolution. That was just a speculation that will help you further on. Okay. So, first of all, we should check whether there are any block everything cards, such as this. Okay, maybe here. And if there are any, that means that all attack cards against that, it would be this, would be automatically discarded. So, no good for Rusty Jim Bob this time. So there are 2 attacks coming and there is only 1 defense to allocate, and even this particular defense happens to be of type special, which means that you actually really need to read what it says. For the simple reason that this particular card is kind of peculiar, I have chosen this for this example. This is the Prayer to the Unknown God, which is the B42. And in here it says pick 2 random cards from your enemy hand cards. Again, hand cards always refer to your battle deck. Unfortunately, hand cards were used as a term before some of our editors decided that hand cards are not quite obvious, and battle deck would be a better explanation of the cards that you actually don't use at this particular moment. So, with this defense I'll only get 1 escape extra, which doesn't really help, and I can deduct from here, from Kerberos's battle deck, a couple of cards, and it seems that there was 1 support and 1 defense that he lost because of Prayer to the Unknown Gods. And then you should be playing another defense card from supply deck. That would mean that you would have to have all of your extra defense cards that are not in your battle deck and not in your opponent's battle deck, which would be all of these in this case. You shuffle these and take 1, and this is actually your real defense on Prayer to the Unknown God card, and luckily it seems that I got an impressive move, avoiding all damage. So let's discard all the attack cards. That was the first round of battle. No damage to either side. Weird, huh? Okay, next round. We have 4 cards on Rusty Jim Bob, and that means that he needs to choose between 2 to 4 cards. Let's assume that Rusty Jim Bob feels that it's time for going all out, and he puts everything in his hand and says that I'm ready. Whereas on the other side, Kerberos has only 2 cards because some were stolen by some unknown gods. It's time to turn the cards and see what we are going to have. It seems that there are 2 support cards and 2 attacks on this hand, 1 attack and 1 defense on this hand. So first we always go for support cards. Let's see, we have First Strike, and it clearly says that you are supposed to deduct only 1 structure point, so the guns don't actually yield any more damage. Regardless of how much guns you have, you do 1 structure point. There is no way of avoiding this because this happens before the defense. So 1 point damage to Desperado. Then it's an Escape Artist. This would decrease the escape value by 3. This would be an evil card to be played against, let's say, an Annihilator, because that would force the Annihilator to actually either escape or then play some cards from his battle deck to prevent the escape. But in this case, as the Desperado has escape value of 6, well, -3 doesn't really count. Well, then we have only 3 more attacks to resolve and 1 defense. And as this is a defense of type defense against every possible attack, defense against many, that means that it gets defense bonuses on both of these successful hit cards. So let's see who is the fastest. Desperado is 1, whereas Courier is 3. So Courier shoots first, and if by any chance Courier with Rusty Jim Bob manages to shoot Desperado into pieces, that would mean that Desperado doesn't get to shoot at all. So, first of the successful hits. that would mean that you count all of your bonuses first on the projectiles, because it has both symbols in here. Note that if both symbols are there, you count both of the attack values separately and resolve them separately. So let's see. We have following combination. Let's see how it goes. On projectile it's 1 plus 1 plus nothing, and we have projectile symbol in here, which means that you can actually make projectile damage. So he's trying to shoot with 2. Unfortunately, the parry card in here already has 2 as shields. Cloaking device adds 3 more, and then there is 1 on Desperado and Kerberos. So altogether, the captain on this side has 7 in defense against projectiles, and 2 would be coming, so that's like 5 more would have to come to even reach 0. No good for the projectiles. Same goes for the other successful hit, because it has exactly the same values. Then the energy side. 1 plus 1 plus 1, that would be 3. And on here we have exactly same kind of, well, not exactly, very close to same defensive values, but still far more than needed. 2 plus 3 on the energy defense, well, actually not far more, some more, but still quite enough. 5 minus 3, 2 points to go. No damage for these successful hits. Shields are very handy. Cloaking device is your best friend. Then let's see how the precision strike works. As it seems that there are no defenses on this side, we can also throw this away because it has been resolved. So the only card which is remaining to be resolved is the precision strike, and it has either the projectile or the energy weapon, and it's been clearly marked with or, that you can choose which of those you would like to make. And as it seems that Desperado only has projectile weapons, I think it's safe to say that meaningful decision is to choose projectile. That would mean that you would do 3 points of damage if you manage to shoot through the shields. Well, the shields are exactly 3 points, 2 plus 1, so no damage. So let's assume that if they would have had only 2 points of shields and 1 would have actually went through, or for instance another improvement would have been placed in here, which would have increased the projectile damage by 4 and therefore making the damage. Then you could have selected whether you want to apply this projectile damage to improvements, meaning busting this turbo laser, or applying those for the structural points. But that's speculation. Anyhow, he didn't have particle accelerator, so the precision strike didn't do any good. No cards, empty hands, battle ended.